Was Sunday afternoon playoff hockey a hit or a miss from National Hockey League? Tarik Skubal, Detroit Tigers, goes legend with a Maddux over the weekend and is running it back. The actual definition of insanity in the world of professional sports. All on today's 1420 Sports Bar podcast. Four Beer Sports talking a whole lot more. Let's get into her.
The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
1420 Sports Bar Podcast. Four Beer Sports talking a whole lot more. Join host Brent Radlinsky as he bellies up to the bar and gets the conversations going that'll make you think you're sitting in your local watering room. It's sports, beer, and shenanigans. So sit back, grab a few beers, and let's get into it. The 1420 Sports Bar Podcast, Four Beer Sports talking a whole lot more. Today's show, as always, is brought to you by SeatGeek.com and the SeatGeek app. Use promo code BELLYUP at checkout and save yourself $20 on your first purchase over there at SeatGeek. Remember, we are part of the Belly Up Media Network. Go to bellyupsports.com for all their great articles and other podcasts, such as the silky smooth sound of Vince Stover at the Sports Stove podcast. He also does all the fantasy stuff for Belly Up Sports. What else? We got No Credits Required with Ryan over Ryan and Dustin, and the Corner Booth podcast as well. Make sure you check out all those podcasts as well when you're listening to the 1420. Mix in those guys as well. They deserve a listen and some different views in the world of sports. And thank you to everybody who listens to the 1420 Sports Bar podcast, either up on podcast form or on YouTube, which we are here. And if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, first time you're watching it, hit the like button to subscribe and all that stuff. You know how it all works. It drives up the algorithm and gets things going here on the Belly Up Sports Media Network. Anyways, over the weekend, the National Hockey League, in their divine wisdom, they decided to have a Canadian hockey market play a Sunday afternoon game on a long weekend in the United States, Memorial Day weekend down there. I've never thought that this was a good idea. In fact, I think it's a horrible idea. And yesterday was no exception. Everybody has something to do on a long weekend. And when the weather starts getting nice, not the last thing you want to do. I mean, I ended up doing it. I had to do some juggling of I had some meetings and stuff that I had to work in for the baseball team, umpiring and I had stuff I had to get done, but I ended up watching the game as much as I could. But it's ridiculous to think that people can do that with their schedule and would want to do that with their schedule. I think it's a horrible idea. The Edmonton Oilers played the Dallas Stars in Game 3 of the Western Conference Final. Ended up being a very good hockey game for the Oilers. Stuart Skinner was unbelievable in the second period. We'll get to the game itself, how it all turned out. But I think it's a stupid idea to have a game 1 o'clock local time start, not just for the fans themselves who want to go watch the game and who want to go to a pub, watch with their buddies at home, or go to the game or whatever it might be. After you go to the game, you're financially invested, so you're going to go no matter what. You're not going to say, well, I can't go because I paid for the ticket, because it's I got a golf game or whatever it might be. But if you are just going to be watching on TV, there's a good chance you might have caught a little bit of it or none of it just because of the time of day. This weekend here in Lethbridge, the weather was fantastic, hot. People want to go golfing. People want to watch baseball outside. People want to do different things. And to have a hockey game on a Sunday afternoon when people are brunching, churching, whatever it might be, to me is a horrible, stupid idea. I put something out on the Twitter machine yesterday about that, and Ryan McCarthy from No Credits Required, he replied, and he made a good point that basically it's a terrible idea. But I basically, the NHL, they always cry about not having enough people watching the NHL playoffs and down in the States, and the ratings are down again once this year, that people just aren't watching for a multitude of reasons. The big markets are out down in the States. As much people hate the Leafs are done, so people aren't watching anymore with their big fan base, and a lot of Canadian markets are out as well. With the Canadian market still in, people across Canada are still going to watch. But down in the States, you have a non-hockey market. They should have forfeited. I think they're winning tonight, but Carolina isn't doing too well. That series has turned into an absolute dud, so no one's watching that one. Like, there'll be no one watching that game tonight. I have it on down here, the 14 at the Yankee Tavern North, but in general, no one's probably watching that game. But if I didn't have 4 TVs down here, I probably wouldn't have it on. But in general, I think it was a stupid idea to do something like that on a Sunday afternoon this time of year when the weather gets nice. People want to go golfing. People want to do different things, and then the thing is you're putting yourself up against baseball. I know baseball doesn't have a ton of fans across the board, but here's the thing: if you're a sports fan, you will generally watch a playoff game, a playoff type thing. Like yesterday, the Pacers Knicks game was on, so I kind of had it on. I was kind of watching it a little bit, but I just find it ridiculous to think that the National Hockey League thought, how do we get people to watch this game? How do we get more eyeballs on this thing? And then in the next side of their mouth, they say, you know what we should do? Let's have a hockey game on a Sunday afternoon, a long weekend. And it goes up against the Indianapolis 500. It goes up against every single baseball game. And the thing about about Sunday baseball, all the games either start at 11 o'clock or at 2 o'clock Mountain Standard Time. Check your local listings. But it's ridiculous to think that people are going to turn off the Yankee game or turn off the Dodgers game or whoever they might be playing, and then or whatever game might be going on, the Tigers, the Royals, or whoever you're a fan of, and tune into a hockey game just because it's a playoff game that you're not really interested in. People are still going to watch their teams play, whether it be baseball or the Indy 500 or getting ready for the basketball game. So why not just have that game on Sunday night and you're only up against one baseball game? That's all you would have been up against, and so you're and then the basketball game. So you're only dividing the viewership by 3 games instead of 18 or 19, and plus outdoor activities, and plus this and plus that people want to be doing. Like, it's a nice weekend. People are getting their lawns ready. They're getting their gardens ready. They're doing all this stuff. So it was funny on Saturday afternoon in my neighborhood. There was a lot of people getting their bedding out plants and their gardens, their flowers, and their lawns and their stuff, and everything nice and pretty for the summer season. And then yesterday there was no one doing it because the hockey game was on. So there were still people watching it. But it's just, I think it was a terrible idea and a terrible marketing plan by the National Hockey League to decide to do that. And especially with having a Canadian market, like I understand that ABC or whoever, ESPN or TNT or whoever has the rights to these games in the playoffs. I understand that they're paying all the money, so they're going to do what they want. But shouldn't somebody with some kind of a marketing degree and somebody with a brain in their head decide, you know what, we probably shouldn't have this game on a Sunday afternoon? Now, I also understand having a late night game on a Sunday, but if it's a holiday Monday, which it was down in the States, not up here in Canada, because ours was the weekend before with the Victoria Day weekend. But in general, people will stay up a little bit later to watch a playoff game. If you play that game at 5 o'clock Mountain Time, then all of a sudden that game's only at 7 o'clock on a Sunday night. That's a perfect time. Yeah, you're going to get up against a basketball game, but does anybody? I know New York's watching basketball, Indiana's watching basketball, and basketball fans are watching that, and they aren't probably watching hockey anyways. So you're telling fans that their time doesn't matter, and people's time is more important now than ever because they're watching podcasts, they're watching this, or watching that, whatever it might be, and then they have little Billy's sporting events they got to go to, or little Jenny's soccer game, or whatever it might be. So to have that game, you're instantly taking eyeballs off of a major sporting event that should get a lot more eyeballs than it does. So this has nothing to do with people not wanting to watch. It's people aren't able to watch. Give them a chance to watch the damn thing. Like, give them a chance to watch the sport. Give them a chance to get invested in it. Give them a chance to love the game of hockey. To say, hey, this is pretty cool. As far as the game goes, it was kind of a dullard. Maybe it was a dullard because of the time of day. Yeah, because you're not used to watching a Sunday afternoon game. Like, if it's in November or January or wherever it might be when it's cold outside, you're like, all right, well, I'm inside anyway, so you might enjoy it a little bit more. You might get more invested in it. But when you're when you're looking outside because the sun's beating down and it's 85, 90 degrees, you're like, hey, I'd rather be outside doing that. Or I might want to be doing something else, playing golf or out in the lake. I remember when I lived in the Okanagan on a weekend just like this, we were out in the lake on a Sunday afternoon having a good time. Like we were playing golf, having a good time. We were doing different things. So not giving people a chance to watch the thing to me was a huge miss by the National Hockey League. I know, like me and Deanne, we were watching the Carolina game. We went out for a couple of pops at where did we go on to Backstreet West there on Saturday night, and we reminded that the game was on Sunday afternoon. We were like, we aren't going to watch this. Like we got other things to do, other things going on. We ended up watching it. I like I said earlier on, but it just didn't make a whole bunch of sense. And then having a dullard of a series like the Carolina one is, and awful hockey. Like it's been not good. Like Carolina just didn't even show up this entire series. And how they get the conference finals year in year out and just don't do anything. There's got to be a bit of a overhaul there and figure something out, because that team is extremely soft and they don't get a whole bunch done. It's kind of ridiculous how it's at that point. They're still winning 1-0 at the time of this recording, but so it might go a game 5, but whatever. But back to that Oilers game on Sunday afternoon, I'm sure it was a great atmosphere in the building, and I'm sure it was a lot of fun at the Moss Pit, and people are outside having a good time. But in general, I think it was a huge miss by the National Hockey League and by ABC or TNT. I don't know who was covering it down in the States, but it didn't have the same juices of a playoff game should. Years ago, I went to an afternoon playoff game in Edmonton back when who was in net there? Curtis Joseph was running there when the Oilers won those 2 playoff rounds, back-to-back years against Dallas, 1 year against Colorado the other year. I went to an afternoon game, and it was a good time. But if I was at home, I probably wouldn't have watched the game. But we had tickets, so we went. It was a really good time. A lot of shenanigans happened that day that we won't get into here. But it was just a huge miss by the National Hockey League, and the thing that bothers me the most, and they were talking about a little bit on the broadcast. Kevin BX is one of the best there is. I really enjoy listening to him. But he brought it up how because hockey players, and not just hockey players, but athletes in general, are creatures of habit, and to have a game at 1:00 in the afternoon, like guys wake up, they want their breakfast, and then they want to have their nap, and because they play so many games, and then they want their chicken parm or their pasta or whatever it might be. So you have to kind of up that whole thing, and all of a sudden this game has it starts 5 hours, 6 hours, 7 hours earlier than it normally would. It doesn't. So the competitive edge isn't there, plus the travel, plus the hotels, plus. I know they're professional athletes and they got to adjust, and they're getting paid a handsome penny. You should be able to play a game whenever you're told to, and they did. But the thing is, you're so used to playing games at a certain time, and then you're told you got to play one in the middle of in the end of spring, first of summer, and be at your absolute best. It just doesn't make a bunch of sense, because I thought that it was quite a bad. It turned into a bit of a duller. The final score was 6-1. The Oilers really opened it up in the third period, but the way the Dallas Stars came out in that first period was kind of lackluster. I thought Skinner made some huge saves. Now how that whole thing has turned about, I know we talked about it last time I did one of these shows, but Skinner was basically, he's going to be shunned, never play again for the Oilers. And all of a sudden he's got a couple of shutouts in a row, and then he won the last round, got a shutout in game 3, gave up the 1 goal, and he was fantastic in that second period yesterday. I think the Oilers got outshot 21-10 or something, whatever it was. And yeah, McDavid was the quote unquote star of the game because of the 2 goals he scored. And that guy's just a magician. It's unreal what he does. He's so great. But Skinner was definitely the difference in that hockey game. And so I got to take a bit of a step back with my comments about Skinner, because he's been nothing short of phenomenal for the Oilers. And I mean, things can change, and things do change in the National Hockey League playoffs, but because it's just until you win 16, there's going to be a lot of naysayers, not a lot of everything else. But the Oilers are now halfway there. They're 16. They're halfway to 16. They can put another nail in the coffin of the Dallas Stars tomorrow with a big win if they can get something done and going again. It's remarkable. Like you hear about. We'll talk about the Leafs a little bit more in a second, but how the people of Florida, the teammate, the Florida, when they beat out the Leafs, they were talking about how hard it is to play in Canada, and it's an awful play. It's awful. It's hard, and the Leafs fans are too hard, and the media's too hard on the Leafs. Well, there's a team up in Edmonton who has a couple of guys. They revel in it. You know why? Because they get the job done. They get the job done when it's time. They like McDavid and Draisaitl get the job done when the playoffs come around. Yeah, they haven't won a Stanley Cup yet, but you look at that first two playoff games against the Kings where Skinner got pulled, and then McDavid said, "I'm taking over. We're going to win this series," and he did. And then the same thing's happening now because you had Rantanen, who was so far ahead in the playoff race of scoring race after the first couple of rounds, and then all of a sudden, Connor McDavid once again is leading the NHL in scoring. He's just the best player out there. He's got the old eye of the tiger, I guess you could say. And it's crazy to watch him go out night in, night out. And he put up a couple of goals last night. There's just with remarkable skill, remarkable speed, and how he just gets it done. And you got to just go, okay, if it's so hard in Toronto, why is it not so hard in Edmonton? Because those guys are just better, and those guys revel in the challenge to go out and score a bunch of goals. They revel in the opportunity to score a bunch of goals. They revel in the chance to win the Stanley Cup for the city of Edmonton, who hasn't won one since 1991, I think it was, or 1990, and they've licked the jar a couple of times in the finals, but they haven't got there. But McDavid has kind of had that thing. Will they win this series? It's still up in the air. I don't think Dallas has done yet. Dallas is still really a team, even though the 6-1. But if Dallas doesn't get it rolling here and find a way to solve the thing that is Stu Skinner, which is crazy to think 2 weeks ago people were ready to crucifix the guy, and now he's doing what he did, same thing last year. It's funny how that works out, how professional sports, how it just clicks a little bit, and you get that thing, and you get that mojo going a little bit. And McDavid has that, and Draisaitl has that. See, I think he's third in league scoring. So well, there you go. It's actually quite that simple. But that other series, I can't, like, how bad that other series is, and it's too bad that it is that way, because how good Carolina is year in, year out, but they're just a soft hockey team. They're just not good enough. They play soft. They can win a bunch of non-consequential games all year long, and they can make all the bad teams look bad. But when it comes to beating really good teams, they aren't going to. And that Florida team, they're up there. If they can get another one, the sky's the limit. You're going to have guys begging to go there. Like Marchand will stay there for another year and finish out his career, but you'll have guys begging to go there, which only can make them stronger. They got the nice weather, they got the no taxes, and they're winning. And that's what everybody wants: make more money and win. That's what everybody wants. And the Florida Panthers have that right now. Paul Maurice is saying all the right things. He's a great coach. He's finally has a chance to win something, and he's getting it done with the Panthers. And the grit and determination that team has. Like we talked last week about how Matthew Tkachuk didn't really have anything going for himself, and playing a little bit hurt from that Four Nations thing. But yesterday, on Friday night, he was chasing guys around, punching guys in the face, and got his grit and determination back. So once they get rolling, they're going to be tough to beat, and they have one of the best goalies in the world in Bobrovsky. So it's going to be interesting to see how the rest of these Stanley Cup playoffs go. And I haven't looked far ahead in the schedule past Wednesday. We got some stuff going on in the stadium there. Maybe I'll talk about it on this show, but I don't know what the hockey schedule is. Going to get pretty busy this time of year with the ball team, but just if they do one more of these afternoon games, I think someone's got to have their head checked, the head exam. I know they won't do it in the final; they'll go on to prime time. But if there's one more of these this week, and they got to have their head checked, because I like to know what the ratings were for that, because I just can't see why people would be, unless you're an absolute hockey dork, but the outside guy probably isn't watching. And then if you think about it, like my brother's out on the West Coast, so he would have been an hour earlier. So he's got shopping to do and things to do and kids and the blah, blah, blah. And then there's other games going on. Memorial Cup's going on, so a lot of hockey fans are wanting to watch their local team play. Medicine Hat Tigers, I think they're up 2-0. I turned that one off the next. So go Tigers a little bit back, Medicine Hat days, back where this all kind of started. But it's there's just too much going on a Sunday afternoon for the NHL to think, and especially a league that struggles with viewership and trying to grow the game in the States. Like, who's watching the damn thing? Honestly. If you're not an absolute hockey dork, which there isn't many in that country, 300 million plus people, there isn't that many hockey dorks in that country. There's just not. Like, I appreciate Ryan McCarthy. He was watching, but he also was watching the World Championships where the U.S. won for the first time since 93 years. So I can't even do the math on that. It's been so long, but that's the thing. I just don't understand what they were trying to accomplish, what they were trying to do. And if you're a basketball fan, you're going to watch the basketball game. If you're a baseball fan, you might watch a baseball game, but like I said earlier, you only have X amount of places to spread the wealth. So if you have all these other games that are happening on a Sunday afternoon, which all the baseball games are on, and then you don't get enough people to watch that game, it just doesn't make a bunch of sense. And why they thought that it would work, it's ridiculous. Championship sports we played at night. I know it's not the finals, but playoff sports should be done at night. And it just doesn't. I don't understand who thought it was going to be a good idea. And to me, it didn't work. Like when it was over, and then you're like, well, now there's no game tonight. Like that's the thing. Like Sunday night, there's nothing really on. Like we kind of watched the basketball game a little bit, but not really. But so like there was nothing on a Sunday night in the springtime. You're thinking this is the perfect time for a hockey game to be on. Started at 5 o'clock, done by 7:30. You got the rest of the night to cook and barbecue, whatever it might be, or you can be queuing up when the game's on between periods, have a good time, have some beers, but all of a sudden the game's over. You're like, well, now it's 3:30. Now what? Now what? Because if you're like me, I don't start a new project out if I have a break in the action. Once I'm done working, I'm done working. Once I'm done doing chores around the house or whatever I'm doing, once I take a break, I'm not going to get back into them. It was a stupid idea. I know they've done it in the past. They do it in the regular season, which is fine. Just throw the games on, whatever. But during the playoffs, those games got to be at night. They really got to be at night. The NHL had lost a huge opportunity in a long weekend, I think, to get more eyeballs on something. Yeah, are the Knicks huge? Yes, but basketball's not anymore. So you lose New York City, and that's it. You might have had a chance to have a bunch of people watching a hockey game that wouldn't normally watch, but then like I said earlier on, you didn't give them a chance to watch the damn thing, and it's a shame because these guys should be watched a lot more, especially McDavid. What this team is doing and what this guy is doing himself, you should get more eyeballs in, and that's the thing. Is Connor McDavid is such a great player that people who aren't hockey fans, if they were to watch this guy, they'd be like, "Holy cow, this guy is something else." They'd be like, "This is unbelievable." So you get more and more people watching it, but because they didn't, they're not going to. It's that simple. It's just like, okay, it's done, it's done, it's done. So I don't. It's just it was a stupid plan, a stupid idea, and they should all have their heads checked, their heads examined, because they just ask me or ask anybody. Lots of people didn't even watch it. Like lots of people I talked today at work. They go, yeah, I had other stuff I had to do. If it's a night game, like they'll watch tomorrow night. They'll watch on a Tuesday night, so they probably watch a Sunday night. I don't understand sports marketing. I don't profess myself to be a marketing genius by any means, and not by any means. Like I think I know a lot, but it's stuff that I like. So maybe, and that's the thing. They've already got me. The National Hockey League already has the 50-year-old white guy from Canada. Like they've got me watching, so they don't need to split the atom and do different things, because I'll probably watch one and make it work. But when you're trying to find a different fan base and trying to grow your fan base and grow your viewership, doing that was absolutely freaking stupid. Didn't swear yet. There you go. See, I'm turn a new leaf here in the 1420 Sports Bar podcast. Sports talking a whole lot more. Yeah, you've already got me watching. You're trying to get different people to watch it. They're not going to. Kids aren't going to be sitting around on a nice day inside to watch a hockey game, especially down in, say, if you're in Louisiana, or if you're in Texas. Well, maybe Texas because they were playing, but in general, you're not. Like, you're in Montana, or if you're in North Dakota, or if you're in Colorado, when your team's already out, you're not going to sit and watch this crap. Not crap, but you know what I'm getting at. I think it's a huge miss, and the NHL always finds a way to trip on their dink, and like baseball does it too. Baseball finds a way to always trip on their dink and not get it done, and always have a reason why, and always blaming somebody else why people don't watch. Like, it's not a mystery. It's not a mystery. Give people a chance to watch the damn thing, and then they'll have a chance to watch it. Anyways, there's my little rant about, and go Oilers. I think they got a shot. I really do. I think McDavid is on a mission, like I said a few weeks back. How I'm doing this, and he scored two fantastic highlight reel goals yesterday, and he's just on a mission. And Skinner, well, if he can play 90% of what he did yesterday for the rest of the playoffs. I can't see anybody taking them down. It'll be a great series if it ends up with the Oilers in the rematch with the Florida Panthers. It'd be a great rematch, and usually it goes the other way. Because I remember back in 1983 when the mighty New York Islanders won the first time against the Oilers, and the Oilers came back the next year and ended up winning the Stanley Cup. So you might see that again this year in the 2025 Stanley Cup playoffs. Yeah, it's been fun. And Rogers, can you just not play the same damn commercials all the time? They have the Triumph one, and now they got a different one. It's just the same thing over and over again. I know you're not supposed to watch all the time, but that's what they want you to do. But it's the same song, the same commercial every break. They have enough of a database in this world where we can play some different songs. Don't keep playing the same 3 commercials on Sportsnet. It gets annoying. I know people they do the pause and if they fast forward through everything, like my father-in-law does. I tend to not do that because I like to just watch things live and then it's just over. But I might have to start doing the Peter, I guess I'll call it, and not starting the game for 10 minutes. I can just go through all the commercials at every period, and then I won't have to complain about that. But it's been a great playoff run so far for the Oilers. They were down and out in Beverly Hills not that long ago, actually in Beverly Hills against the LA Kings. They survived that one, and they won the next round. So they got a shot to get back to the finals, and I expect Connor McDavid to be hoisting Stanley Cup in a few short weeks. I hope they don't play any of their playoff games when the Bulls have any games, because people won't be going to Spit Stadium to watch Leopards Bulls. They'll be staying at home to watch the Edmonton Oilers, so ticket sales will suffer a little bit, but that's just the way things roll. Anyways, that's the segment 1, NHL playoffs, the 1420 Sports Bar podcast, for Beer Sports, talking a whole lot more. Here is a word from our friends over there at Righteous Felon Jerky.
Righteous Felon Craft Jerky is the official jerky of Belly Up Sports. For over a decade, Righteous Felon Craft Jerky has led the American meat snack revolution by concocting delicious, adventurous, U.S.-sourced jerky recipes for uncompromising carnivores across the country. With 15 different flavors to choose from, Righteous Felon has all jerky lovers covered, and by using promo code BELLYUP, you will get 15% off your purchase at righteousfelon.com. Do your taste buds a favor today and rip into a bag of Righteous Felon Jerky.
Yeah, it's been a long time since anybody's ever said this, but the Detroit Tigers have the best record in the major leagues. That's something that maybe my old buddy Lou Gamlin from the Captain Lou Extravaganza, got to have him on to talk about the Tigers' resurgence, how their playoff team last year. But they're in first place in baseball with 35 wins, 20 losses. But the real story this weekend was the reigning Cy Young Award winner Tarik Skubal doing the Maddux. I didn't know this was a thing until about 2 hours ago. I kept reading it over the weekend about this Maddux. But basically, it's a complete game shutout with under 100 pitches, which is what a Maddux thing used to be to do. He used to do it under 70 pitches. That guy, though, he would just keep throwing strikes, getting ground balls, and getting guys out. But Skubal had a 13 pitch, I think, the 94 pitch effort, 13 strikeouts, two hit shutout against Cleveland on I think on Saturday afternoon. Just remarkable. But you look at the stat line, and I'm old enough to remember where you're like, yeah, that's what they're supposed to do, right? You had guys like Pedro Martinez would do it. Roger Clemens would do it. You obviously Maddux would do it. You would have so many guys who would have these complete game shutouts year in, year out, a week in, week out. I shouldn't go that far, but I think you guys know what I mean. That these guys would they would put up these great numbers, ungodly numbers, give their bullpen a rest, just go out there every inning and throw 130 pitches, whatever it might be, and then get out and then get to a 3-hit shutout or give up 1 or 2 runs and complete game after complete game after complete game. And it's quite refreshing to see a guy like Tarik Skubal, who's obviously a younger guy with a cannon for an arm. He threw one of his last pitches was 102.9 miles an hour, so it was 103. But to throw that in the 9th inning, one of his last pitches of the ball game, to have that, it's actually truly remarkable. But the thing is, that's what it's supposed to be. These guys are paid a ton of dough, and I understand that their arms are basically worth hundreds of millions of dollars, not only to themselves, but to the franchise as well, because the more they win, the more people come and be beer and hot dogs and everything else. So these guys are worth hundreds of millions of dollars to their franchise, not only themselves, but it's what these guys are supposed to be. And I read a thing earlier on today about AJ Hinch, the Tigers manager, said, yeah, his pitch count was manageable. Well, what if it wasn't? What if it wasn't? What if Tarik Skubal had 125? Were you going to take him out of the game? Like, you were going to deny people the chance to see a great afternoon of baseball in the sunshine against a quasi rival that you're going to take him out if you had a couple of walks, that he just had too many pitches. Could be you need him for next game. You're going to take him out. Like, it was a comment that is so today's baseball, because these guys all throw so hard and their elbows are only a pitch away from Tommy John surgery. But we are going to take him out. Probably you better not, because the fans had a chance to see something that they'll never have a chance to see again. So it's crazy for these guys to always keep stepping on their tongues a little bit to say that well, we got to look after the future. You know what? The future doesn't matter right now. When the guy is doing something like what Skubal did on the weekend, there's no way you should take him out. You're a third of the way into the season. You're 50. I think they're 50. What did I say? 32-20 or 35-20. So they're actually just one game past the one third mark of the season. So all these teams are who they are. Not this what basically who they are is what they are. What you see is what you get. But for Skubal to be out there and for the manager to even make that comment, so the next time if there's a couple of walks, you're gonna take him out. If he gets his pitch count too high, you're gonna take him out. Give fans the chance to see something that they want to see. You're in the entertainment business. They're not going to see that ever again. They might not have a chance to ever see it. It might be that fans' one only time to go to a game. It might be their only chance to go and watch something like that. That might be a family of four who goes to one game a year. Leave these guys in. Let other guys do this. Let other guys have a chance to do something that people don't normally get to see. Like, you hear all the stories about guys who were at a ballpark and they got to see something fantastic for one time in their life. They were at that game. Like, there might have been a bunch of kids there this weekend that might not have ever been to a game or might go to dozens of games all year long, but they'll be telling their buddies or their kids or something years down the road saying, yeah, I was at that game. And baseball's lost that a lot with the romanticism of baseball and the stats, not the analytical stats, but the stats guys that we used to read them on the back page of the news saying I was at that game, and they could recite, 94 pitches, 13 strikeouts, 2 hits, and they would say, and then this inning he did this and this inning, like a baseball dork would recite those things, not the launch angle and other BS that people talk about. But when these guys have a chance to go legend, do something remarkable in the baseball field, let them do it. Because they might never do it again. They're only one pitch away from their elbows going out. So let them be stars. Let these guys get themselves out of trouble. We talked about it before on this show that these prima donnas who just don't get a chance, or they leave games when the going gets tough. So why not leave guys in when they're doing well? Why worry about their elbow? It's going to get blown out anyways. Why worry about their next start? It doesn't matter. The game today matters to the fan. You're in the entertainment business. Let the fans see it. Let the kids see it. Let the kids have heroes. Let the kids have legendary heroes. Let the kids have stories that'll grow and grow and grow. Let parents say they were at the game. Let grandparents say they're at the game and they saw this guy do this. Too many times, guys leave games way too early. Sometimes guys leave games way too late. But guys leave games way too early. They have these pitching staffs of 25 guys, not 25, but you know what I mean. Leave them in. Leave them in and give fans a chance to watch legendary things happen, monumental moments, because that's what baseball's all about. And I know I'm a baseball romantic and a baseball dork, but that's what baseball is all about. It's these moments and these things that you don't get to see. Some random, like, who would have thought that some random Saturday afternoon I'd be sitting here talking about a Detroit Tigers Cleveland Guardians game? But no, that's what baseball is supposed to be about. It's supposed to be about the moments. It's supposed to be about the romanticism. It's supposed to be about guys having days that you might never see again. You might never see that again. You know, and it's his first complete game. And he's a Cy Young winner. It used to be Cy Young winners would have 10, 15 complete games, right? This is his first one of his career. So that might be the only one he ever has. Guys don't throw complete games anymore. They just don't, because of the investment that teams have on their bodies, and the way that guys throw baseball so damn hard nowadays. And it's you have a chance to watch it. And I wish there was more guys like that would have it. And the thing is the Tigers are good. They're in first place in all of Major League Baseball right now. So why not build up more interest? And like Skubal's obviously a big name, and he's going to draw interest no matter what. But if they win and he does that, his next start, you're going to draw more people. Then the Tigers are all of a sudden relevant again. And baseball's probably pretty good when Detroit's is relevant. When people are more interested in it, because Detroit's as much people crap on Detroit, they're a major city, right? That's been starving for a championship for a long time. Yeah, they won some in hockey and everything else back in the 90s, but their baseball team hasn't done much. So get people interested, get people jacked about it. And for Hinch to say it was like, don't like, I know they didn't pull him. That's not what I'm getting at. But don't even put that into people's thought process that you were even considering pulling him out, because that negativity breeds negativity. And that's why I'm talking about it right now. If I didn't hear that Hinch said that or read that Hinch said that, I wouldn't be bringing that up. Let people go legend. Let people work out of adversity. Let people enjoy the fruits of their labor. Let people when they're rolling, leave them in, because you might not get that back ever again. And that's what baseball is supposed to be about. Baseball's supposed to be about guys rolling and having a day. And if you get a chance to go legend, then like you wouldn't pull if a guy's got 3 for 3, you would say, oh, he's had a lot of swings. He's had a lot of swings. He's having an off day. Let him go 4 for 4, right? Let him do it. You wouldn't do it I know pitchers and batters are different. I get it. But a batter can get injured just as easily. A fielder can get injured just as easily. Let guys stay in the game. Let fans enjoy the moment. Let fans see this stuff, because that's what will grow baseball. That's what will grow baseball. Not all this other crap. That isn't going to help baseball at all. The other stuff, it's been proven people aren't watching. It's been proven people don't care about that stuff. So quit pressing that stuff down your thing. And when you have a guy doing what Skubal did, or you have an Aaron Judge hitting 400, publicize it, talk about it more, get it on the national media, get it everywhere. Quit being like, baseball really has to quit being such a regional sport. And it's tough because there's so many people just like their team, right? And baseball isn't the most fascinating game to watch at times. So when the Anaheim Angels are playing the Oakland or the Sacramento Athletics, whatever they want to be called this week, people are like, I'm not watching. It's different in football, where there's people who are transients who live all over. Like if you're in LA, they have Pittsburgh Steelers fans. There's not Dodger fans in New York or in Cincinnati, but I think you know what I mean. But baseball has to build on what they have going right now and talk about their stars a lot more. And when things like this are happening, like if I wasn't a Yankee fan, Judge doesn't get publicized a whole bunch in the papers or in online or different podcasts. Like you have to hunt for that stuff. Baseball really needs to find a way to market the greatness of some of these players and what's going on with some of these great players and some of these great teams and what's happening. And they just don't do it. And Skubal, who talks about them? Who talks about the Detroit Tigers? They got a 35-20 record, and no one's talking about it. You have to hunt it down. Whereas the MLB Network should have that on nonstop. Talk about these guys. Other sports podcasts and national podcasts, especially, and radio shows, need to be pressured into talking about these great moments that happen, so people get interested and watch it a lot more. I don't think it's a hard formula to digest. It's two things that I think I know everything about, but marketing. But I don't think it's too hard for baseball to embrace how great things are, and if they're really bad, embrace that too. Like I was watching Overdrive earlier on today, and they were talking about how bad the Jays are, how they were close. They had a good series against the Padres last week. Then they go into Tampa and get smoked. And Bo Bichette, what happened to him? Holy cow! He was supposed to be the next coming of everything with his great hair. Maybe cut his hair, and that's what it went. But he's done nothing. That ship has sailed for him to be any kind of a superstar. Now he's just a player. He's just a player who plays in Toronto now. If he played anywhere else, yeah, you wouldn't even hear of him. You wouldn't hear him in Canada. But because he's a J, you hear about him all the time, how non-effective he is. So it's baseball has a marketing problem. They always have. We talked about it on this show 1,000 times, but they got to figure out how to fix that little situation, because it just isn't working for them at all right now. And it's just you hope that they can figure it out and get and when the great moments happen, make sure that people have a chance to watch. Anyways, that's the 1420 Sports Bar Podcast segment 2, brought to you by Righteous Felon Jerky. Go to righteousfelon.com and use promo code BELLYUP and save yourself 15% for the best jerky in the land over there at Righteous Felon Jerky. Final thoughts here in the 1420 Sports Bar Podcast. For Beer Sports, talking a whole lot more for this Monday night, May 26th, 2025. Earlier this, I think it was on Friday, I think it was, Keith Pelly, the grand poobah of Maple Leaf Sports Entertainment, had his State of the Union address with the media out there in Toronto, and for the Leaf fans across the country, across the world to hear. And he said, it's talking about how things are going and what they got to do to get over the hump. And he slipped it in a few times that the Carolina Hurricanes were down 3-0 or getting smoked by the Florida Panthers. So basically, if the Leafs were there, they would have been doing the same thing to Carolina, which is an asinine comment, because you just don't know. You don't know how it's all going to work out. Yeah, the Leafs took the they took the Panthers to 7, but got smoked in games 5 and game 7, as we talked about last week. Thanks everybody. It's a very well watched show out here on the Belly Up YouTube channel. So thank you very much to all those who listen. But they say the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different result. Well, that's basically the Toronto Maple Leafs. And when you hear Pelly saying that, you got to thinking, are they going to run this thing back again and do the exact same thing that they've been doing? Bring Mitch Marner back, bring Tavares back. From the other radio shows and podcasts I listened to, that's not the case. That Marner is pretty much gone. He doesn't want to be around there anymore. It's a little bit too hard for him. It's just time to move on because of the disdain that the fan base kind of has for him. And Tavares, he's getting a little long in the tooth, but he had 70 points last year. So here's the thing. If you're going to give up, you have to give up 170 points. You got to find 170 points somewhere else for the rest of the team to click a little bit. So, do they have a choice but not to run it back? What do? They were fairly successful, right? They won their division. They lost in Game 7 of the conference semifinals. If you said that about any other team, if you said that about the Calgary Flames, if you said that about the Vancouver Canucks, if you said that about any team in the National Hockey League, you'd be like, yeah, they're close. Let's run this back and do it again. But they can't. They can't run this back again because it is battered spouse syndrome with Leafs fans and this team. It's okay. Everything's okay. But it's not okay. You look at teams like Jim, the fan of the Van Plotner, talking about the Pittsburgh Steelers. Keep listening to Jim's show. He's fantastic. But he talked about the Steelers, how they run it back year in, year out. Same coach year in, year out. They don't do anything. They haven't really done anything for how long since Roethlisberger left. Yeah, they make the playoffs, then they lose in the first round. So what are we doing? Yeah, we get this and we lose. What are we doing? Eventually, it's just over. Eventually you can't keep going back to that same girlfriend. When you break up a few times like you used to in high school, there's a reason why you broke up that first time. It just didn't work. Something happened and it didn't work. So why would you run it back again? And people do it, and it never turns out well. It never turns out well for anybody to just run it back and just hope. It is just like there's a disdain that people have for Mitch Marner. I get it. But 100 points is hard to replace. I get that people think that Tavares, he's not worth $11 million anymore, but 70 points is 70 points. Who's going to do that next year for the Leafs? You going to find some free agent to do it? No. You're not going to find a 100-point guy in the free agent market. So they got 170 points and 2 guys. That's a lot of money. But what do? Do you say, well, you know what? We were close this year, but we should really, really, really look at taking a step back and maybe not being as good as we were this year, maybe not going to the second round and go back to what we were, and do we start a rebuild? No, because you have Matthews, so I still think he's going to get traded. But they have a good core, and they're close. But are they? No. It's so hard to build a winning team, and it's so hard to win. But when you see what this team does year after year in, year out, they don't really have a choice but to run it back. They don't, because you can't have a team that's worse. You can't have a team that's worse that hasn't won anything. You can't have a team that's worse that went to Game 7, because if they're worse next year, then what? If they're worse next year, then what? They haven't won anything. Like, at least with the Steelers and Jim's Pittsburgh Steelers, at least they've won in recent memory. The Leafs haven't. At least they've given themselves a chance to win a couple of times. They've made the playoffs. They've won around. Like it's the same thing with the Yankees. They're at a point right now where they have to look at winning something, or else what are we doing? You can't keep just spending and having bit pieces here and bit pieces there. And I think Volpe, I think it's time for him to go. I think Volpe, that experiment is long gone. They're having a very good season once again. What's their record? 32-20. They're fine, just like me, and just like we said back with Captain's Corner before the season started. But they're 32-20. They're fine. 12 games above 500. They're fine. They got a 6-game lead division. They're fine. They're fine. They're fine. But are they going to win anything? Probably not, unless they can go and get some pitching. But got to give up prospects. So what are you doing? What are you doing? You have to be all in or all out in the world of professional sports, and you have to catch lightning in a bottle. When you get a chance to win something, you have to take advantage of that. You don't have a choice. You don't have a choice, because you might not have that chance again. And all these teams that are mid, they're just flailing, and their owners are collecting paychecks and collecting revenue, because there's a lot of teams right now. We say it all the time. You can go through the Major League roster right now. They're not winning. You go to the NHL roster right now. They're not winning. But the Leafs are there. But if they get rid of 170 points, those two guys, then what? You can't. So they don't really have a choice but to run it back. Will Mitch Marner accept a sign and trade, so they can get something back for him? Probably not. Probably not. So right now, with the way Leafs Nation's talking and the way Keith Pelly's talking, they're talking now to both sides of their mouth, because Pelly's saying, well, we were really close, but Leafs Nation's saying we can't bring these guys back. So do you want a worse team next year? Because that's what you'll have. If you don't bring those guys back, which I don't think they should either, you're going to have a worse team. And is that what you want as a fan base? To not win, to get kind of close, and then we didn't win again. I don't know. It's so bloody hard. It's so bloody hard to predict what a team should do and what you think they should do. But when you have a guy like Matthews, do you blow it up? Do you say, you know what, we aren't close? Because they're not. They could play that series with Florida 14 more times. Florida wins 14 times. Really? You watch the Edmonton team go, they wouldn't beat the Oilers. So are they actually close? Yeah, they were the last of 5 teams, the way the schedule worked out, to be alive this year. But are they close? Deep down inside, are they close? Because if they get rid of Matthews, or if they get rid of Marner and they get rid of Tavares, they're further away than they were this year. And they already weren't close. So what are we doing? Battered wife syndrome. Like, it's just, you can't go back. You can't keep going back to the well. You can't. But what do? Do you want to be worse? Do you want to be worse? Or maybe for a year, a little bit of pain. Like they're talking about the Steelers. They don't have a quarterback. A little bit of pain. You fire Tomlin. A little bit of pain. Quick rebuilds. Get something going. I'm sure people would enjoy it. Giving a chance to their team to win. Maybe saying, you know what? We stunk this year. We're going to stink this year, but next year we're going to be better. But you draft a quarterback or whoever. Is he going to be any good? You don't know. You don't know what you're getting. Like, you have no idea. All these prognosticators, all these draft specialists, they all had Shedeur Sanders going in the first round. He went in the 6th. So no one knows. Some guy could come out first overall. You don't know what you're getting. Just another kid. You're just getting another kid that you hope is okay, that might put you over the edge. And only one team ever wins. And a team usually with the best players and the best organization, that's the one that usually wins. And the Leafs aren't there. They're not better than the Oilers. They're not better than Florida. And Florida is on a heater. And every year, the Stanley Cup seems to go through the state of Florida, whether it be in Miami with the Panthers or in Tampa with the Lightning. So what are we doing? Are they better than them? Nope. Proven 2 years in a row. They're just not. And if you lose 170 points, you won't be better than them next year. So what are you doing? You blow it up? Try again? Go 500, lose in the first round, start that trend all over again. It's an impossible task. Anyways, that's the 1420 Sports Bar podcast. For Beer Sports, talking a whole lot more. A little bit mellow tonight compared to shows in the past, but it's needed. If you're in the Leopard area, make sure you come to the Banana Ball game. It's on Wednesday night down there at Spitz Stadium. Come have a lot of fun. The TCMM, Tanner Craswell, Mitch McLean, Memorial Baseball games will be a lot of fun between the Jets and the Banana Ball. That's the Jets and the Bulls, so that'll be a lot of fun. I'll actually play a little video here to end the no, maybe I won't. Doesn't much matter. Anyways, yeah, there it is. 1420 Sports Bar podcast. For Beer Sports, talking a whole lot more. Brought to you by Righteous Felon and SeatGeek over to the Belly Up Network. Make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel as well. Listen to wherever you get your podcast, all that stuff, and take care of yourself. More important, take yourself to eat around. And remember, it doesn't matter where you are; it's who you're with. Have yourselves a great week, folks. It's baseball season at Spitz Stadium, so I'll keep putting these out every chance I get. But it's baseball season at Spitz Stadium. Bull season gets going media day tomorrow, so that's be a lot of fun. I'm actually looking forward to it. Saw some of the old guys. Should have talked about it a little bit. Seen some of the guys from last year, and so just it's fun. It's a lot of fun. Maybe we're doing a Bullhorn live tomorrow, right from the field at Spitz. There, I have some players interviews and things like that. So that should be a lot of laughs. But anyways, there it is. 1420 Sports Bar podcast. For Beer Sports, talking a whole lot more. Have a good night, folks, again, and we'll talk to you again later on in the week. Thanks for tuning in to the 1420 Sports Bar podcast. For Beer Sports, talking a whole lot more, brought to you by SeatGeek. Go to bellyupsports.com for the best of sports articles and podcasts. Subscribe to the YouTube channel or wherever it is you get your podcast. Let's get in.